UFP, the United Federation of Podcasts.
Infinite diversity.
Live long and prosper, and welcome to Infinite Diversity, a Star Trek Universe podcast, here on the United Federation of Podcast Network. I'm Chrissie, your host for today, and joining me are my co-hosts Justin and Brandon. Justin, how are you today?
Mark Twain's got a gun. Oh, I have my oxygen now. I'm feeling better. Wait, he did, but that was a weird hallucination. Anyway, now that I'm back, I'm feeling good. How are you?
Well, good. Brandon?
I'm doing really good, but I just so you know, I'm on a time crunch here. I have a pottery class at 0900 hours.
Oh, 0900 hours. Brandon, that's like 15 hours from now. I think you're okay.
Yeah, but we dropped the podcast at 1 a.m, so like the early people will know. So
Sure.
Works perfectly. Right. So also joined with us today is Aaron Reynolds, creator and curator of Swear Trek, Effin' Birds, Bat Labels, and, this is from last year, but shows your serious side, editor of the No Second Chances project for Canada 2020. Thank you for coming on to Infinite Diversity. Welcome.
Thanks for inviting me. I feel like I should have had a quippy Star Trek thing prepared, and I didn't, so I'll just shout, Gorn Wedding! So,
Gorn Wedding. Well, just for the rest of the podcast, we shall refer to you as the cleaner.
Okay. That's fair. I'll take it.
Brandon, do we have like half Canadians here then?
We do, yes. Aaron, I'm a fellow Canadian. So I'm from Saskatchewan.
So technically now this is Canadian content, because once it's 50%, that's Canadian content by the rules and regulations for the CRTC. So, if you guys were trying to get grants or anything like that, this is one step closer.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yes.
I'm in Michigan, so it's really close.
That's almost
basically
Canada.
Canadians.
Yeah, almost. It is, basically. Yeah.
You just swim a little bit.
Yeah. I'm in El Paso, Texas, which is about as far from Canada as you can get in the U.S., so...
It's true, too.
I almost visited Texas this year, and then there was a pandemic. But I was scheduled to appear as a guest at the San Antonio Fan Fest.
Okay.
And I was very excited to actually see what Texas looked like, because I have some guy who's seen some movies, picture of Texas in my head. It's like the Bugs Bunny version of Texas is the only thing I know about Texas. So.
Just to give you an idea of how big Texas is, it would take me about 8 hours to drive to San Antonio.
See, there you go. Yeah.
It's a big state. It's very different in many places. Yep. All right, so we're here from many corners of North America. That's cool.
Yes, and our listeners are from many corners of the roundness of the world, so yay.
They are, and if they're in North America, they've watched what we're going to talk about legally. If not, probably illegally.
Yeah, but it's not ours to judge how they're watching it. We just talk about it.
Yeah.
So, before we jump into this week's episode of Lower Decks, however, we always like to hit news if there's something going on. And this week, the only big piece of news we had was the announcement of the 2 books coming out. We were aware, of course, already that Cassandra Rose Clark had a book coming out next year, because we talked to her a few weeks ago, but I don't think we had the title at that point.
I don't think we did at that point.
So the title is The Shadows Have Offended. And it's a story set in the 7th season of TNG, centering on Dr. Crusher and Deanna Troi. And we don't have any other details on that, at least not
I
that
think
I
the
found.
title was the thing that we hadn't gotten from her before. That's about it.
Yeah, because we knew we didn't know the 7th season part.
She did say 7th season, yeah.
Yeah, she said 7th season, yeah.
But anyway.
Okay, I forgot.
So this is a book about Twitter. The Shadows Have Offended.
That would be great.
Yes.
But it's exciting. like we
that.
said, Troy Crusher, and it takes place during TNG, which is cool.
Yeah, it's been a while since, 15, 18 years since we had an in-series
It's been
novel,
a little while.
Wow.
Yeah. Aaron, are you a reader of Star Trek novels?
Every once in a while. I used to read a lot more of them, and I'm at a place where I don't have the time in my life anymore, and it makes me sad. But I was actually Star Trek books were how I first got into Star Trek, because we didn't have cable growing up, and Star Trek was not on TV when I was at that formative age where I would have been watching it. And I would go for the summer at my cousin's place in Port Elgin, and he had all of the Alan Dean Foster Star Trek log books,
Awesome.
which are, I found out later, were adaptations of the animated series. But so my formative Star Trek is actually novelizations of the animated series. And so my like picture of what Star Trek is, I think, is kind of bent compared to everybody else's. But recently I was able to acquire all of those books from him. So they're all on my shelf in a place of honor.
That's great. I mean, is that part of the
Very
reason
cool.
why Swear Trek has so much animated series stuff in it?
Oh, I just love the animated series. So, I mean, I'm sure I love the animated series because it's my first Star Trek. But also, it's very easy to rewrite dialogue for animation. You know, if I need to retime those shots, no one will know. You know, if I need to add 4 syllables to what somebody's saying, I can repeat a few frames here and there, and nobody's going to see it the way they.
Or the times when to save money, they'd have like a hand over the mouth or something like that, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Or everybody's just in shadow now for a while. Yeah. Or my favorite was when they didn't want to draw spacesuits, so everybody has one yellow line around the outside of them and a belt.
Yes.
Hey, I like that belt.
It works.
But it's a very fun series, I think. Yeah.
I own a cell from the animated series of Spock reading his tricorder. I don't know if you've seen the swear trick that I made that says where he's looking at the tricorder and he says this entire planet is bullshit. I managed to buy that cell, and so I'm very like, yes, I own this.
Nice.
That is very
And tell us if you didn't just write that in on the cell.
No, that would be sacrilege.
Sorry to suggest
I've thought about
it.
having a custom background made for it or something with it on there. Yeah.
There you go.
So I got a
Brandon.
question for Aaron as a fellow Canadian. How close are we in age? So I'm 39. I'm going to be 40 in January. How close are we in age?
I'm 45.
45. So for me, my formative Star Trek growing up was in my high school years. So grade, I would say, I don't know, probably grade 8 or 9 or whatever, 7, 8 or 9. And I would run home because I lived very near my high school, and our high school was done at 3:22, and the original Star Trek aired on CBC at 3:30 Monday to Friday.
There you go. There you go.
Beautiful.
That's what year would that have been?
So that would have been, so I guess I graduated in 98, so probably about 4 years. So yeah, 93, 94. So 93, 94, 95.
Yeah. So for me, I started watching the original series as a teenager in the late 1980s because the independent Buffalo station that we got would run it after school. And so it started to become an after school regular thing for me. And then I really got into the films. Now, you know what? I probably saw the films before I even saw any of the original series because I'm thinking about it, and I remember seeing Star Trek II on its network television premiere. So I don't know when that would have been, but mid-80s. I'd be 10-ish. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, one other book was announced, and this one we didn't have a whole lot of information on, except I think they had announced the author's name.
Well, there's a whole story behind the author, but you go ahead with that I have to tell. But you go ahead with what you have there.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. The only thing I can say, first of all, title is Revenant. Okay, and it's a story centering around Kira and specifically Jadzia Dax. So we don't have a time frame given, but we know it's not in the last season of DS9.
Yes, it's got to be season 6 or before, right? That's for sure. Yes. But I think that's exciting that it's, well, a DS... First of all, we haven't gotten any DS9 novels in, I think, 3 years since the last one that... Did David R. George III do one 3 years ago? Something like that? Yeah, because he was doing
that's
a lot
not
of
even
Sounds
a DS9.
right.
That's
I'd have to look.
That was like a Mission Gamma... Or like, what do you call it? He had a
They called it Mission
for
Gamma. You're right. But I mean, it's DS9. But anyway,
It's older than
but
that.
not about the
Okay.
station.
Not
really,
Mission
but...
Gamma, because Mission Gamma was
Mission Gamma is way back.
But it was with Cisco on the Galaxy class.
I know
That was the fall.
No.
No.
But it did have something in the title that was Gamma. But anyway, so it's been a while, and even before that,
Everybody's shouting now.
like,
I'm looking it up.
sorry, even before that though, we hadn't had one set in the series for probably since they started the relaunch in 2001, right? So that's been a while. So that's really exciting. The author that was announced is Alex White, and Alex White was announced as, well, they were part of the discussion, and I'm using they because Alex's pronouns are they, them, but so they're part of a panel, and then I reached out to Alex and I was like, hey, we saw you're part of this panel. You're writing a novel. We'd love to have you on the show. They're like, I was a little confused about, the announcement that I was writing a novel, but sure, reach out to my agent or whatever. So then I was like, oh, not writing a novel? But anyway, this says Alex is writing a novel. That was my story. Wasn't exciting, but...
Oh, okay. No, that's good information.
But yeah, and maybe we'll have Alex on sometime. It depends if I get a response back.
That would be cool.
But yeah, a DS9 novel is exciting because it's been a while. What's the one that you got there, Brandon?
Yeah. Okay, so I stand corrected. So it's Star Trek D Space Nine Gamma. Original Sin. And so it's called Star Trek Deep Space Nine Gamma because I think the ship is the Robinson.
And they're going in the Gamma Quadrant with Cisco, right?
And he's in the Gamma Quadrant.
Aaron's probably
so
really
good because great book.
It's a great book. But Aaron, there's been 30 or 40 Deep Space Nine post-series novels since 2001. There's been a lot. So...
And they don't all reconcile.
Yeah, I just like that you guys were arguing over whether it was really a Deep Space Nine novel or if it was...
You're like, we didn't see Deep Space Nine in the novel. It's just in the Gamma Quadrant with Cisco. It's not
I wanted somebody to angrily say it was a holodeck episode. That's my favorite, holodeck episode.
There is a DS9 novella that was published right after that called I, the Constable.
That's right.
Which is almost like a holodeck episode because it's just Odo, wandering around looking to solve a mystery. But
oh my God, can somebody make a first-person video game where you're Odo solving crimes? Can we do this?
Totally.
I want to do this. It's just like one of those point-and-click kind of adventures where you click on the clues. Oh, I'm going to write that down. This is my $1 million idea for the afternoon.
People who do that type of thing.
Yeah, if you're listening and you're a game developer
just throw a little bit toward us,
and you love DS9, just make it and we'll play it.
I'm deleting this section out of the podcast and submitting it on my own.
Write this down. Odo video game. I'm going to read this note later and I'm going to be like, Odo video game. That's the stupidest thing you've ever written down on paper.
So cool novels.
Oh, right. The post series novels, even though most of them are organized that they're dealing with one or two of the crews, they all kind of blend together because you've got Tuvok is over here on the Titan, and you get everything going on with Voyager, and it's all blended in.
And Kira gets lost for a while, a bunch of
stuff.
Oh yeah,
happens. I mean, talking DS9, yeah. So there's a
Can you imagine how those books would go if that backup plan to replace some of the TNG cast members with some Voyager cast members in Nemesis had happened?
Ooh,
do we know this story?
The only thing that I'd heard was that they had offered for Jerry Ryan to be a Nemesis, and she turned it down because she didn't think it made sense. I think they wanted to replace Marina Sirtis or something like that, right?
Because she wanted too much money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were like, oh, we'll get somebody cheaper. We'll get somebody from one of the other shows.
And Jerry Ryan, she's exciting. Let's offer it to her. And I think she was like, I have nothing to do with what's going on with this story, so whatever. Yeah. But
First Contact, that would have been the one, but no. Make too much sense.
One would think, although at the time First Contact came out, Seven was not created as a character yet.
That's true.
So, anyway.
Have you guys?
All right, so we've gotten through the minutia.
Yeah, I have a book question because it's a book that I always want to talk about with people, and nobody that I've ever talked to has ever read it aside from me.
One of us might have.
Is it F and Birds, the book?
No. Did you all buy a copy? Please and thank you. Please.
I do. I have one sitting right over there.
Yes.
Okay. Look, Aaron, I'm gonna confess that I don't understand F and Birds. I don't get it.
That's okay. You don't have to get it. Humor is super subjective, and it's very much people not getting swear trek. I don't know if you saw the for this podcast. How do we feel about me saying a curse word?
I think.
Well, you know what? Since we know who the guest is, I'm going to let them slide for this one because I'm the editor.
Right.
So
okay,
we'll put a little
asterisk.
Yeah, I'm perfectly capable of working without swear words, but so there's I got told by somebody who tried to talk to Doug Jones about Swear Trek, about whether or not he liked Swear Trek, that Doug Jones didn't get it and didn't find it funny, which is that's A-okay. It's a really weird joke. And I made a Swear Trek that's Saru in the elevator with Michael Burnham. and he looks like he's just like utterly confused about something. And I have him saying, I just don't understand Swear Trek. All they do is make Spock say fuck. And so I was like, this is my meta commentary on a real thing that I heard about. So, but, I think that Effin' Birds is like, I don't know. I like things that are, my like favorite kind of humor is things that don't seem like they match, things that are incongruous. And so Beautiful Woodcuts of Birds and the internal turmoil that I'm feeling matched up together as a comic strip, I just tickles my happy place. So
I like stuff like that too. Sorry, Brandon.
No, hey, it's fine. My humor is like the most obscure as well. Like the hardest I ever laughed in my life was in, I think it was season 2 of The Simpsons, when Homer got the vibrating chair and they did the whole 2001 thing when he was in the vibrating chair. Yeah, I was literally on the floor laughing so hard. Like, that is not even an exaggeration. And my friend who was watching it with me was looking at me like he was ready to dial the insane asylum. So,
you know what? Whoever wrote that episode really needs to hear that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like when somebody writes a joke that resonates with you that strongly, you have to tell them because, it's a thing to appreciate.
Definitely.
But I was going to ask about Michael Pillar's book, Fade In. Have you guys read it?
Oh.
I haven't yet. No,
I haven't read it, but I've heard a lot about it, and I've listened to podcasts about it.
Yeah.
So it's expensive to buy a copy because the way that they've gotten around the rights issues of reproducing any parts of the screenplay for Insurrection is that it's a textbook, and so it's priced like a textbook and it's published like a textbook. So it's like $80 or something like that. It is entirely worth your time, and a drum that I have been beating for a long time is that I want somebody in some format, as a comic book, as an audio drama, as something like that. I want someone to put together an adaptation of his early draft of Insurrection that is an adaptation of Conrad's Heart of Darkness, where Picard has to go up the river and kill Data. And I like the reading about it and reading about everybody being excited for this story, and then ultimately the reasons why they didn't go forward with it, because they felt that they had just made a dark Star Trek and they needed a lighter Star Trek as the next film. It's like, I understand it. I get it. It was a good decision. And yet I desperately want to see this in some form. I want somebody to novelize it or, comic book it or something. I just want that to be a thing.
Okay. Video game, first person, Odo doing mysteries.
Yes.
And then we also want some sort of adaptation on screen of Michael Pillar Fade In. Okay.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, the early draft of Insurrection.
So I'm sure we've got some listeners out there that can help us with that. Your deadline is December 31st.
I'm not sure how I came on this podcast with a list of demands, but apparently that's what I'm here for.
Anything else on your list that you're holding us for hostage for?
You want me to pitch you a plot of an episode of Lower Decks? I can do that.
Okay, we'll probably be here for a few hours. But
no spec scripts.
Let's talk about what we have for Lower Decks first. So
yeah, let's do that.
All right.
Oh, that's right. That's what we're here for.
That's right. Yes.
This is that teacher mode getting in. Okay, we've had a minute. Now we're going to go back. All right.
We've had our ice broken. Now let's do the thing.
So, all right. Lower Decks, episode 8, Veritas. If anybody didn't know, that is Latin for truth, which I think falls very well into the episode. So we'll start, of course, with Aaron, our guest. First of all, what are you thinking about Lower Decks as a whole? And then secondly, initial thoughts, first impressions of this particular episode.
So I've been enjoying it. I think that, like almost every Trek, it took a little bit to find its feet. I think it needed some time to set up some specifics of the characters because this episode, which I think by far is the best one so far, at least for me, is so dialed in to the character humor. And I think that that's what really makes character stuff really makes all of Star Trek. And so for this show to have found the place where it can start making jokes that are entirely character based and have them land so solidly and be so damn funny, I think is just fantastic. And so I'm happy that 8 episodes in, we got a really a fantastic episode.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes. All right. Well, then Brandon? Oh, wait. Should you go last? Because I know you...
I think we know how he feels. It depends. You're the host. How do you want to do this?
Let's save that for last. Justin, how are you feeling about it?
All right. So as listeners might know, and Aaron might not, I've had a lot of difficulty with Lower Decks and finding it funny and dealing with how they're doing with the characters. And they've been like 1 out of 7 so far for me. But this episode, like right from the beginning, it got me. I thought a lot of it was really hilarious, especially the Rutherford and Tendi stuff. I laughed more in this episode than I did in the previous 7 combined. So it was really like hitting on all cylinders for comedy for me, which I've been so struggling. I've gotten like 1 or 2 laughs an episode before this. But then also, like, I think there were a couple of things that we'll probably get into, but basically there's one plot line here instead of 3, 4, 8, like however many they usually have. I really like the focus. And in addition, I don't know, there was just something about the pace and the timing that was just working for me, except for the end. We'll talk about that. But like the end was the only part where I was like, but the rest of it, like they had me. I was laughing a lot. So it was like relief, like I'm really enjoying this finally. So,
you know, when you talk about the Rutherford and Tendi parts being really good, I think that is... I think that they nailed the Boimler Mariner dynamic pretty early, but the Rutherford Tendi stuff was was a lot more hit and miss. Like even in I don't know how you guys felt about the Badgie episode, but I
didn't like that one.
I liked it.
I like Badgie a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. But like I feel like the two of them really shone in this one, and again, like all about their specific character bits, like the Rutherford when he does wake up at the Gorn wedding and he's like, oh, I'm going to solve this by having the same problem that I keep having and trying to reset himself, and then wakes up at the Gorn wedding again. It's just like, it's so perfect.
I think one of the reasons why I found it so funny was I had to do a lot of updates for my work computer, and you know, whenever you do that, no, seriously, but whenever you do that on a PC, it often will restart like multiple times, and you have to be like, all right, is it done? No, there's another one, and Rutherford's like, oh no, again. So
installing Klingon fonts, do I even need those?
Right. So like it was also that like experience I had. I'm like, that's what's happening for Rutherford right now. So anyway.
Yep.
The best for last, Brandon.
Yeah.
Well, not last because you haven't said how you feel.
Well, I'll just say,
go Chrissie first.
I really enjoyed it, and I have a tough time picking favorites, as people who've listened to us know. But I'm definitely saying this is my favorite of the 8 so far. So nice. I'll leave it at that. All right, Brandon.
So the first time I watched this episode, my initial response was, I effing hate this episode. Like, I really, it did not resonate with me the first time I saw it. And I mean, like, I understand with comedy that, like, sometimes things don't really work with you, you know, and even with just entertainment in general. I mean, I remember the first time I saw Matrix in theaters, I'm like, what is this trash, right? Like, I hated the Matrix the first time I saw it. But, you know, a second watch a little bit later, I'm like, okay, this is great. But
you're being true to form on that first watch and feeling exactly the opposite of how I feel. So.
Then I watched it again, and I watched it a second time at work the next day on my lunch break on my iPad, and I watched it. I'm like, this is terrible. I really don't like this. This is just not working for me. And finally this morning, I watched it a third time, and then waiting for my grocery pickup because I do the Superstore pickup. I watched it a fourth time while I was waiting, and it's grown on me a lot. And I don't hate it as much as I did the first time. And there is, even at the first time I watched it, there's a lot of really funny laughs in this episode. You guys have mentioned some of them already. Like, there are some really funny plot lines in this. But to me, the episode didn't work on a whole, and I can specifically point down why this episode doesn't work for me. And it's because this episode reminds me too much of Judgment from Enterprise Season 2. And I hate Judgment. It is my least favorite episode of Enterprise, right? Because, like, I just don't like it because they focus on the trope of Star Trek 6 too much in that episode, and they're doing it here. And so, like, that's the thing for me why I dislike it. So say what you will. I love Rashomon. This is no Rashomon. I know Judgment is based on Rashomon, but that's what really brings it down for me, is it just makes me think too much of Star Trek 6, which is a great movie. So, I don't know. That's why I'm mad.
I think it was supposed to make you think of both of those. Yeah. You know, like the whole design of the celebration room or whatever that room ultimately is made to make you think of those episodes in that movie. Like, I think that was one of the many references that I enjoyed. And you know what? One of the other things that I liked about it is that in some of the previous ones, while I've enjoyed all the references, I felt that a number of them were just a little bit too just like pushed in there, and everything here just was like just humming along and happening in a way that was so organic and again, character driven, because of course Boimler likes Roga Danar. Of course he does, and so like that kind of joke, just like you put it out there, you make it make sense, you zip past it, and I dug that.
I got to ask you, Aaron, because it seems like with all the references in the Star Trek universe, they must have some version of what we see in Star Trek, right? They must have some version of like TOS and TNG and all that stuff that they're watching, right? Because they reference a lot of stuff.
Sure.
Anyway.
I would love to,
to see them watching an episode of like whatever their version of TNG is.
Yeah, and have it be like a super soap opera thing, right? That's all about like everybody's relationships with like a daily cliffhanger and like I'm writing Star Trek soap opera down on my list. So.
There you go, listeners. There's a third thing that we need from you. Yeah,
wasn't that Deep Space Nine?
Yeah.
Oh, kind of, but there was shooting in that.
There's shootings in soap operas, aren't there?
Well,
there wasn't soap. I've never watched actual soap operas.
Yeah, there's got to be twins, and there's got to be. I'm trying to remember. There was a show in the early 2000s that was awful, but it was so good. It had a chimpanzee as a cast member. It had like a whole week that was called like Death Island or something like that, where all the characters had gone to this like vacation island together, and every day they were promising to kill off one character. Oh man, I wish I could.
Is this real or did you dream this?
No, it was real.
Fun.
I frequently think that I have dreamed things. It was a soap opera. Passions. Was it called Passions? Passions. I think it was Passions. If Passions is the one that had a chimpanzee that they later had to stop having the chimpanzee because of animal rights activists' complaints, which were good complaints. It's like, you really don't need a chimpanzee on a soap opera. I mean, you just get a puppet for crying out loud. You guys are all looking up Passions. I can see everybody's typing right now.
American television soap opera. Yep. 9 seasons.
It was
9. Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
It's terrible. I would, if you could find it anywhere, watch it. Especially the ones on the island where they murder people. Those are the best.
Is this the one that I'm seeing where it says it has 1,600 episodes on IMDb? That's crazy.
Well, they have 5 episodes a week, right?
Yeah.
So daily soaps have tons of episodes. But you got to remember, the only stuff only happens on Monday and Friday. Everything in the middle is wheel spinning, right? On Friday, it's the cliffhanger. On Monday, it's the resolution. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is keeping you going.
Okay, next idea, Lower Decks soap opera style.
Yeah, let's do this.
Anyway,
I want to write some in-world Star Trek soap operas. That'd be really
well,
good.
that would explain why he knew about the candle thing with Crusher. Boimler at the end.
Be on a soap opera?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, like, come on. That's a very personal thing. Everybody's going to know about that anyway.
I've often thought that it would be fun to put together some kind of program that was disguised as a Starfleet ethics class at Starfleet Academy, and that just analyzes the ethics of all the episodes we've already seen.
That's good.
I think that would be something, yeah.
That's good.
So I want to ask a question about this episode. When do you guys think this episode takes place? Because I've got a little theory on this here. I think this
Why
episode
does it have,
takes place.
He mentioned star dates that are 5/7 and 5/8, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think so, yeah. But I think, without looking at the star dates, in my head canon, this takes place prior to the last episode.
Really?
Because Tendi says she's going to get up and go to the bathroom, and I think she's going to work on the DNA of the dog.
I think you're right. I hadn't thought about that.
Or maybe she's working on improved DNA for a new dog now.
Well, a new dog. Yeah. There you go. That's fine.
Yeah, we don't need
Interesting.
that.
I really enjoyed the dog subplot a lot, particularly the end of that episode when the dog reveals that the whole time it has known that it is a monstrosity, but it was trying to spare her feelings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
Best episode ever, right, Justin?
I did not enjoy that episode. Veritas is the best episode ever. You are wrong, Brandon. No, it's very subjective.
I enjoyed that.
I just like that I just like that there were episodes that you could both enjoy.
I think there was one so far that we both enjoyed, right, Brendan? I think it was Cupid's Arrow.
Yep.
I don't know anybody that didn't like that.
That was it.
Except for
Keith DeCanto.
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't like it anyway. Wow, we're all over the place. Okay.
There's always somebody who doesn't like something. It's just,
That's true. You can't do anything about that.
My publisher sent me an email. They're like, hey, we're going to send a copy of your book to Margaret Atwood. And I immediately replied, don't tell me what Margaret Atwood thinks of my book. Please don't. I don't think she's going to like it, but if she says anything other than she really likes it, just don't tell me. I don't want to know that Margaret Atwood thinks my book is mediocre. That's not a thing I want to know about.
You watch. There'll be one in the background in Handmaid's Tale next season. That'll tell you.
I don't know if you guys saw that. There's one in the Jan, which is a big sitcom up here. My book showed up in the background of Jan. So.
I saw the picture you put up.
I haven't watched it yet. Yeah. I love Jan Arden.
She's so funny. I like that she's a fan of Effin' Birds.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I love Jan Arden.
Cool. All right.
So my two favorite jokes in the episode. Did anybody catch the Hunt for Red October reference?
Of course. Yes. Crazy Ivan.
Oh, that's what that reference
That's what
was.
he said. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta tell you, I thought he said crazy eyes, and all I could think of was the Gowron memes.
No, in the subtitles, Crazy Ivan.
Yeah, my subtitles are not working for some reason, but yeah. Okay,
so
well
I love
that makes more sense.
I thought that was great. Because Dayton Ward, one of his books as well, placed Star Trek within Hunt for Red October continuity and Jack Ryan continuity, because it was the second book, the one with the ice on the cover about the Vulcan from Carbon Creek.
In History Shadow?
Okay.
Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
Right. I haven't even read it, but I know the name.
They, near the end of the book, they make a reference to, and I can't remember off the top of my head now, the ridge where they sunk the ship. Sunk the Red October.
Yeah.
And they make reference to that mission. And I tweeted out to him, I'm like, am I the first person who caught this reference? He's like, no, but you're the second. So,
nice.
I thought that was cool. So, yes,
nice.
I love that.
I don't think I got the name of it right. It's Elusive Salvation, the one where they're on
Elusive
the ice.
Salvation.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
Okay.
Well,
does
Chrissy,
that mean
we've really taken... Go ahead.
I was just going to... Does that mean that Tom Clancy's widow gets some of the money from that? Because she got all the money from... That was part of the divorce.
I think it's obscure enough that no.
Just being terrible.
They're not scanning Star Trek novels for that, probably.
I was working at the bookstore when they got divorced, and there was a huge issue of having to pull his books and then re-put them out and all. Anyway, you were saying, Justin.
Oh, no, I was saying, I think we've taken your control of this episode as a host away from you. But...
That's all right. I'm just go along with it.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Okay. You know what? Initial thoughts and impressions can take a long time, so I'm not complaining.
But Brandon had a second favorite joke.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
The second one was when T'Ana goes on the alternate ship, and like everybody,
yes,
everybody looks just like weird versions of them. So I don't know.
There is a universe with that, I'm sure.
And so I think that's the kind of joke that I really like on this show is where it takes a Star Trek trope and then just gives you a boring reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just another ship. It wasn't an alternate universe at all.
Well, that's it. Yeah, it was just that's the joke. It's that she just got on the wrong ship.
But I thought she said something about is this an alternate universe?
She says she thinks she's on an alternate universe, right? And then they're like, no, this is I can't remember what they called the ship.
Alhambra.
Did you get on the wrong ship?
They all look the same.
Yeah.
So.
And I gotta say, my favorite one was the fan dance. I couldn't take it when the fan dance happened. That killed me. Just
dance,
killed me.
boy, dance.
He needed to be that. If they really wanted to make up for the ridiculousness that was the fan dance, or make fun of the ridiculousness that was the fan dance, he needed to be partially nude.
About that?
Yeah, it's
true. That would have been better.
He should have had.
But whatever.
There's nothing ridiculous about the fan dance in Star Trek V.
He should have dropped his robe.
Nothing
and
at all.
Then done the fan dance.
Yeah.
I try very hard to find a charitable lens to view Star Trek V and enjoy it, and I mostly fail. I like one scene in it a lot. I think it's beautiful and a great reason for the film to exist, which is the Dr. McCoy's father's deathbed scene. Yeah. I think it is beautifully written. It is magnificently directed. We can say lots of mean things about William Shatner's work on Star Trek V, but that scene is masterfully put together. But I can't.
I've come to enjoy it a lot more than I used to. But yeah.
I used to like it better, and then I don't as well. But if you go by the theory that this is all just a dream while they're camping, then it works. And if you've heard that, no,
I don't like putting other context onto a film to try to make it enjoyable. Like, I feel like as soon as people had to say, "Oh yeah, but look, Jar Jar's really a Sith," no, I can't do it. I can't. The film is there. It is what it is.
Oh no, I don't disagree. It's just it's an idea that's out there, and I didn't know about Jar Jar being a Sith, but that's a whole other conversation. So
let's not have
it. The best lens for Star Trek V, though, is in David A. Goodman's autobiography of Captain Kirk.
Yes.
Oh,
that's the best one.
Yes, you're right.
So this is a spoiler for the book you haven't read, but it's minor.
Go
they go to I think it's if I remember correctly, it's Sigma Iosha they go back to.
Yeah.
And it's actually a movie that they made.
Mm-hmm.
And they go to watch the movie, and that's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. It's wonderful.
That is funny. That is funny.
All right, so I broke this down kind of how the episode is set up. So let's start with Mariner's version of events and how she's reacting to it, and then we can go down the line. But the thing that I wanted to look at with each of these was how do their versions reflect on their character. So I mean, yes, there's other elements of it, but they're all seeing the events from this particular viewpoint. It's like one of those experiments they do in school where, somebody comes in and screams something in the classroom, and then everybody's supposed to write the thing down. And you find out that everybody's view is different. Not quite that, because it's different. Some different stuff. Anyway, so what do we think? Who wants to go first?
And before we go on, I just want to make sure that everybody understands that for the remainder of this podcast, you must speak only into the horn of Kandar, and you must tell the truth.
I refuse.
Happy to be here.
Happy to be here. I really like Mariner's what's the difference between witnessing and just looking at something, because I think that's Mariner in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
That's that character to a T, and to have her version of events really, and I think the whole show tries to throw a little bit of shade onto the idea that everybody in Starfleet is competent and morally upstanding. I think that's like one of the fundamental pieces of humor in this show. But I like that the Mariner version of this story is that somebody can be perhaps incompetent but good-hearted and still sort of survive and get something done, or make a horrible mess of things and then get thrown into a pit of eels,
which was never explained ever.
Never explained. I love that they didn't explain it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yes,
just cultural difference. Well, Justin, what do you think about?
Well, it's funny because I'm trying to kind of split out who was saying what, because in a way it was kind of like. It's clear in my mind the Rutherford stuff and the Tendi stuff, but some of the other stuff I'm like, what? Who said what? Where? But for Mariner's version, is that one where she's on the bridge and then Captain Freeman says to send a message and she fires the phasers? Yeah. That's in her version.
Yeah, the very first setup.
So I've been having a trouble in this show with Mariner displaying incompetence and never being punished for it, and I didn't like that. I was like, come on, like just fire the phasers when someone sends a message, get some clarity or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I like it. That's one of the things that stood out in her version, and it was fun, like the banter, I think, in the repair bay, which was in her version. Yeah. But this was maybe my least favorite part, because for me, the Rutherford and Tendi stuff was gold, and the Mariner stuff was kind of a little bit of setup. But
good, yeah. Brandon.
So I'm kind of the same. Like, so Aaron, when we go through these episodes, like, aside from us just sitting here going, "Oh, I love that part, it was funny. I love that part, it was funny," we talk about it like it's Star Trek, and
because
they tell us it's canon, and I tell this to all the guests. It's not canon to me. It's pure parody, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. But I mean, like, these people are incompetent, right? And I have problems with that.
By the way, that speaks to the nature of canon, because the fundamental nature of canon is deciding what you do and what you don't take with you. At least from a biblical canon.
Yeah, that's what the word
right?
comes from.
Like biblical, it's not about deciding what's real or actually happened. It's about deciding what we're going to take from it and what we're not going to take from it.
Well, be careful.
And
the
so,
fundamentalists are going to
I don't
be
know about that.
coming after you.
Well,
Yeah,
but whenever
true.
you talk with anyone who's actually been involved in Star Trek, whether it's someone that's made something on screen or an author, they say if it's on screen, it's canon. If it's not, it's not. And canon isn't meant to mean consistency, continuity, anything like that. But I think what you're talking about, Brandon, is like a personal view. Like, I don't really see it in that same way, and that's fine. But I think officially, like, if it's on screen, it's canon. That's it.
Right.
Well,
Right. And for me, canon. So how I define canon is, I define canon as being, so everything that's Star Trek on screen is canon, and they do their best to keep everything within as much consistency as they can. And I allow for a lot of errors. Obviously, there's going to be when there's this much. But for me, Lower Decks does not fit within that bubble of what all other Star Trek is. It doesn't. It clearly fits outside of it for me. This is pure parody. This has absolutely nothing to do with what is going on. And I'm certain
maybe it's
at
a
some
show.
point,
Maybe it's a show they watch on the Enterprise E.
Maybe this is a show that
That's
they watch
what
on the Enterprise
I've
E.
been
That's right.
saying.
It's a sitcom that the Enterprise watch.
it's Friends for Starfleet.
Yeah. And the reason why is because we look at an episode, so even in this whole episode is about, the senior staff being completely incompetent in every situation, right? Because they're taking all these people along on these missions, and they're all just assuming things. They're not giving proper directions to their cleaner, to Rutherford. They're just saying, let's go. Rutherford's sitting there saying, stop, stop, stop. But even right at the beginning, so the two main ops and positions there were just left empty and nobody noticed. Right? During the middle of a crisis. And I mean, I guess you can sit there and say, oh, it was a memory, and that's not clearly what the memory was. She's misremembering. There was somebody there. But I mean, like, this is what we're shown. We're shown what happened here, right? And there's nothing to indicate that this is a Rashomon-like story where somebody's lying. Like the season 3 Next Generation episode where Riker's on trial, right?
Yeah.
So there, somebody's lying. Those stories are misremembered, and there is an element of truth in each. This story is presented as, this is the truth told partially by different people who had different portions of the story, right? So we're not told at any time are we supposed to assume that anybody's misremembering anything at all. So,
I think so.
But so I mean, like, so for me, that's the part that I have, and that's why I continually remove this completely from my Star Trek canon and continuity and put it right over here. I'm enjoying it, and there are people who will just assume that means that I hate it, right? Because you have any critique at all on something, therefore you hate it, because you don't just heap praise on it, right? As much as I dislike this episode, it's hilarious. There's a lot of funny things in this episode. So, but I had that trouble with it. And to me, that makes Mariner be exactly who they've told us she is, right? She just tries to skate by the rules. She tries to do what she can to not get into trouble and to, try and evade detection. And one of the lines that she had in this episode, then I had problems with, right? When after Tendi leaves and she's like, I never get to clean the conference room. I'm supposed to believe she suddenly this is a big tough girl facade that she's got to like really not let anybody know how much she actually cares about being a Starfleet officer and doing these lame duties. I don't know. So, I mean, that line doesn't work for me either. So
that one I read definitely as a little bit of of jealousy or something like that.
But it doesn't make sense from what we've seen from Mariner before, because she's like, that stuff is stupid. And now all of a sudden she's like, oh, I wish I could do that. That didn't make sense. But
well, I think that you're trying to read a person as like a straight line, and nobody's a straight line in that way. You know what I mean? Like I can remember in jobs that I have had both hating aspects of them and then being upset that other people got the juicy assignment of doing one of those terrible things over me. Like I definitely resonate with that. That is a thing that has happened to me more than once. So I don't think that's, I think that it's only like out of character if we're trying to make a diagram and a box and say they are always this way and never that way. And I don't think that works. I don't think that works for characters or storytelling or anything like that. It only works for checklisting. And I hear the like, it's not Star Trek canon for you, Brandon. And that it makes sense to me that if the parts of it that are frustrating you because they don't feel perfectly like Star Trek for you, that then you can just sort of put it to the side and then enjoy it for what it is. And I think that that's a great a great attitude to take towards it, you know, like, and I think it doesn't matter what other people say is or is not canon. I remember, we were talking about Star Trek novels earlier. I really love a book called The 3-Minute Universe, which is set in the original series, like timeline. And it has all sorts of things in it. It's very funny. And it's in the way that Trouble with Tribbles is very funny. It sort of takes everybody and just sort of like twists them a little bit and gives us like a jokey version of a Star Trek plot. And part of it is that they've been invaded by these aliens that turn out are not very good at invading and are not very good at running a ship and are not very good at keeping control of things.
Oh,
and ultimately the crew end up like
no
grooming
spoilers.
them to fight with each other. And like, oh, it's really good. Like,
Because I haven't read it yet. It's on my shelf right over there, but I haven't
Oh, really?
read
Is it? Okay,
yeah,
so it's a great book. It's absolutely a great book.
Justin, it's
making
40
a
years
note.
I was going to say, I read that a lot of years ago.
It doesn't. Okay,
So
hey, it
40
doesn't
years
matter.
old. Don't make me feel
It
that
doesn't
old. It's
matter
like
how
30
old it
years
is.
old.
If I haven't read it, it can still be
It's a spoiler.
for
That's
me,
true.
so-
That's true. And so I can, but like perspective wise, I can see somebody being irritated by that book. You know what I mean? Like by its like not being as deferential to the idea of Star Trek or the competence of the crew,
Absolutely.
or you know, like that. Yeah.
There's tons of things like that. The final reflection, I think, is complete trash, and everybody loves it. I think that is like one of the worst Star Trek books ever written, and I do not understand how everybody loves it. I've tried to read it 5 times, and I'm like, this is just terrible.
I was going to mention another John M. Ford novel, How Much for Just the Planet. Have you ever read that one, Aaron?
No, it's a great title.
It's
Terrible.
hilarious. Of course,
Terrible.
Brandon will say the opposite of what I say, but I laughed so much at that one. Anyway, I think you might like it, Aaron. Despite what Brandon says.
I'll put it. I like the title a lot. So.
It is seriously like one of the most absurd, crazy things that has ever been written in a Star Trek novel.
Great.
Absolutely.
No joke.
I'm into it.
It is, yeah.
I just read all of the John Scalzi Emperox books, and I loved that they took what was he took a very serious plot line and then didn't treat it with reverence. You know, and I really appreciated that about the whole thing, like that there were characters involved in it who, like, there's these earth-shattering, you know, society-changing things happening, and there's a bunch of people who like could not care less about what was going on in it, and like I really dug it. It was a great story, well told, but also that it wasn't really full of itself. You know what I mean? Like it was. I read them in between reading Children of Dune and God Emperor of Dune, which are both very heavy, like science fiction-y books. And it was a good palate cleanser.
Yeah.
God, can we agree on one thing, Brandon, today?
I don't know that we can. Well, I don't know that we can, but that's just. I don't think we ever. This
is part of our charm of this show. I mean, that's just
it is.
We wander off and we disagree.
Brandon says one thing, I say the opposite. Chrissy is in some way a tiebreaker, but she never wants to be because she's an active favorite. So that's our dynamic. And we love it.
The thing about this episode is this episode perfectly sums up exactly what Lower Decks is, though. Right?
It could have been a pilot. It could have been the pilot, right?
Yes.
This should have been the pilot, honestly.
Yeah.
John Tenuto really didn't like it, and one of the things that he said was because, like, the idea of not this episode, but when he was on for episode 4, I think it was, is that the premise of the show is they're a second contact ship, and I'm like, they're not. Like, the premise of the show is that the A plots that we got on TNG and Voyager and whatnot are the B plots here, and that is exactly what's going on here. Right?
Sure.
Everything that's happening that we don't see is what we would have seen in a TNG thing.
Sure.
And I think that's really cool.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern in space is what it is, right? Like it's taking those background characters and just following them around and letting it be funny and letting it poke holes in I think the idea of puncturing Hamlet is so beautiful, and that's why I like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. But like, I think that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead cares a lot about Hamlet, you know what I mean? And it cares a lot about the feelings of the characters in Hamlet, and it really cares a lot about the feelings of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, who the actual play of Hamlet I don't think cares about at all. So you know, I feel like these are those guys who ran by in the background, getting their moment in the sun.
Just because they said it was going to be a second contact ship, I don't think we can necessarily hold them to that for the entirety of the series. I mean, think about how often the Enterprise D ended up being the, let's ferry ambassadors around in the Alpha Quadrant and Beta Quadrant.
It depends on what's happening, because I think, like last week or the week before, I was like, they told us it was supposed to be out at Second Contact. There's only been 2 episodes about that. This one had nothing to do with that, and I loved it. So
well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think we should hold them to that. It's not. I mean, how often did either enterprise, any of the enterprises, go where no one had been before? 5, 6 times.
How many times did they call Spock a Vulcanian? In the original series?
A few times.
Like it's just not, they get to change their minds.
Hey, he's Vulcanian because he's half human and half Vulcan. That's what
That's
Vulcanian means.
Lie. That's a lie.
He's not Vulcanian.
By the way, yeah, exactly. There was one of the reasons I wore specifically what I'm wearing, and of course people who are listening will not know that I'm wearing an original series season 3 Sciences tunic right now. One of the reasons that I wore it is because of some whining that I saw on Twitter about the Mariner wearing the flap open and how most of the uniforms don't have a flap like that. I just wanted to point out that the original series uniforms do have a flap like that if they're screen accurate.
Oh.
Yeah, if they're not screen accurate, they obviously don't.
Caution,
have this,
listeners! Aaron is disrobing
right
now.
I'm taking my shirt off right now. The shoulder seam
dance,
is a
boy,
zipper.
dance.
The shoulder seam is a zipper, and it opens up like this. And that's how
it
you
does
get
have a
in and
flap.
out of this.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
because it's the only way you can get in and out, because the neck's really tight, and they didn't have stretchy materials like that in the 60s. So to make it tight across the shoulders.
We never saw them do that on screen, so that's not real.
So it could do it. They could do it. They just never did.
I had no idea. That's cool.
Okay, if that person is listening or somebody wants to tweet at them later, episode 2 of Next Gen, Beverly starts unzipping the front of her tunic. That's... Yeah.
There you go, her one-piece tunic.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's they just have the zipper in the
Could
front.
be like that. Yeah.
I know they didn't later, but...
Okay. Wow, I learned that. Okay.
Yeah. Justin, you're just like
I said.
I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah, just to be clear for our listeners, it really was opening one flap. It wasn't like he took off his shirt, so...
No, I opened the flap. It looked like Kirk in Wrath of Khan with his flap open.
Justin,
flap.
show us how
Yes.
you take off your shirt.
I'm not going to show you because I just pull it over my head like any other shirt. What about you? No. Well, how do we get here? What are we talking about?
It's because you invited me on the show. It's because you invited me on the show. I'm sorry, I derail everything. It's what I do. I'm the derailer.
That's all right.
Yeah. 3 hours later.
Yeah. Well, hey, people that followed us over from the other show, they should expect
we are not going to have ones that long again. Okay.
Other than
how long
today,
was the
right?
show?
2.5 hours often.
Yeah. Talking about Picard.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. On when we were doing No Second Chances, we had recorded more than 50 hours of interviews that we were going to try to get through in about 12 episodes. And one of the editorial rules was that 25 minutes was too long.
Oh.
And so that is a real tight show. I'm really pleased with it. But man, that was a long part of my life editing in that.
All right. Well, let's get back to the trial.
Yeah, because I think that if we talked about the 3 other perspectives, we will be here for another 2 hours. But it's okay. It's your show.
Okay. Rutherford's version, we did mention how ridiculous it was with the resetting and the fact that they wouldn't let him,
I love that.
Give him a chance to actually finish resetting. That didn't make sense to me because if they needed him to do the thing that the update was for, you have to wait until the update's done. But other than that, I liked it.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no,
I just love that like all the things that Rutherford did, it turned out wrong when he tried to leverage it. The episode starts with him having tried to turn up the red alert volume, it turns out he's disconnected the speakers. And when he's, like I said with the Gorn wedding, when he's trying to get out of the Gorn wedding by putting himself into autopilot by resetting his cybernetic implant, and he wakes up again at the Gorn wedding. It's like it doesn't work when he tries it. It only works when it happens by accident.
Gorn wedding is just so ridiculous.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me talk about this for a little bit because this was my favorite part of the episode because there's something that I love about this kind of thing where somebody is put into something, there's something crazy, like they get unconscious, or in this case it kept rebooting and there's like another crazy thing, and I just kept laughing because, like I said, I like that this is like one plot that's all about this supposed trial and all their perspectives, and like in this part with Rutherford, it just kept getting like crazier and crazier and crazier, and like every time like he woke up, I was just like, this is great. I don't know how he got on like the hull of a TOS bird of prey, but I love it. I don't know how he got to a Gorn wedding, but I love it. I don't know how like he's in this Romulan hangar or something doing a fan dance, but I love it. Like I think, Brandon, there's like a fundamental difference in our senses of humor, which is, and this goes to the trouble with Edward as well, like sometimes the more absurd something is, the more I like it and the more it makes me laugh. So like that part, totally, they had me on board, and I just like, I couldn't get enough of it. I wanted at that point Rutherford to just be like the whole episode, but I wanted like just all Rutherford after that.
I thought the Gorn wedding was ridiculous, which was hilarious. Yeah. I'm not saying I didn't like the Gorn wedding. I thought it was hilarious. No. I love the Gorn wedding, and you know the fact that he's like passing out constantly was funny, right? You know, and that he wakes up and he doesn't know what's going on. I loved it. I thought it was really, really funny. But I mean,
hey, we agreed.
I mean, I really liked Rutherford banging his head on the cloaked ship. Like, banging his head, going, what? Oh, right, cloaked ship. And then hitting his head again, like, cloaked ship.
I thought that was really funny.
I was like,
it's like, wait a minute, just a little bit to the left. Nope. Oh.
Plus, can we talk about the way that Paul Scheer delivers the line when his character has the oxygen deprivation? And he goes, Tasha, the garbage bag's behind you. That's so good.
I love that.
Because it was both like it was a wonderful, terrible reference, but also just like
he's watching TNG, right?
Yeah, he knows the story exactly. Maybe he was there. Were there other people in that landing party?
He could have been.
Oh, now I want to go back and.
There wasn't anybody else on the landing party, but there's no reason that some of these people were not aware of these things. Were not on the Enterprise.
Yeah,
that's true. But yeah, I love that as well.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get it the first time. The first time I was like, what is he babbling? And then the second time, I think I'd seen people talk about it online, and I had the captions on, and I thought it was just hilarious what he was talking about.
I think that this is a show that is going to benefit from. I haven't rewatched any of them. I've watched them all just the one time, but I feel like it's going to. The second time around, I'm going to start picking up on some stuff that was less obvious, which was
and make sure you have the subtitles on.
Yeah.
Oh, like this happens later in the Tendi plot, but like,
we can jump ahead.
I love that they had the redacted eyes. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah,
but also
really
when the Andorian is talking in the subtitles, his character name is redacted. I thought that they went to that level was hilarious. So,
I like subtitle jokes. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, the only thing I would say about the Gorn wedding, and this is probably coming out of left field or whatever, but let's see. Brandon, I know you watched Game of Thrones. Justin, you didn't, right?
No.
Aaron, did you watch Game of Thrones?
I watched Game of Thrones.
So the first thing I thought of, we see the Gorn wedding, and there's a bunch of blood around, and all I could think of was a Gorn wedding is not an affair unless there's at least 2 deaths. And that would have been a really fun little Easter egg ridiculousness, but I'm probably the only person that thought that. So,
like a Dothraki wedding.
I honestly feel like this show at some point doesn't need to. I think this show, if it snuck in a reference to a deep cut in some other science fiction or fantasy property would be, I think it would be funny as hell. But you can't do it too much. You got to do it like one time, make a Gonk droid reference or something, and then, just move on very fast.
But Chrissy, really important question for the Gorn wedding. Yeah. Does it take place on Cestus 3, at the Vasquez Rocks on Earth, or some other place where they filmed stuff at the Vasquez Rocks?
Cestus 3. It's totally Cestus 3.
Think so? Okay.
I think it was the Vasquez Rocks because they found out that Cestus 3 was supposed to be the Vasquez Rocks, so they traveled to Earth to have their wedding.
And they got special permission because they're friends with the Gorn now. Maybe. We don't know.
So is Raffi there?
Sure.
That could be. Oh, man. That would have been hilarious to have Raffi just like come out of the trailer and be like, what is going on here?
Actually, within the timeline, that might work.
I think she would have been there 2380.
Yeah, but that wasn't...
No, maybe that doesn't work.
That was before she
that
kind of fell apart and went...
Because it's after 2385.
But she could have had the trailer.
She briefly time travel. No.
All right.
Okay. I will be a big fan if this show decides to just blow timelines at some point and do something that is like 20 to 30 years too early or too late.
Oh,
I
really?
want that to happen.
See,
I really want that.
You know what I would love, and what I
Yeah,
thought Temporal Edict was about, and what I'd love, because I love time travel in Star Trek. I want this Lower Decks episode where they have some absolutely crazy adventure, like surfing through time, like popping up at all kinds of places. But I don't know if that'll happen.
That would be good. And then you could bring in the two guys from DS9 and the DTI novels. That would be fun.
Yeah.
The Mulder and Scully
Anyway,
guys. Yeah.
Way off. But I need
Mulder
time
and
travel in
Luxley.
this
Yes,
thing.
thank you. I never remember what their names are. I just remember it's an anagram.
Mulder and Scully.
All right, so Tendi. Justin, you were talking about Tendi.
I love the Tendi plot also, again, because like there's the redacted eyes, and it's totally ridiculous that they're like, you, the cleaner, like whoever the heck you are, I don't care, let's bring you along here. Wait, before we get into that, I don't care how ridiculous it is. They brought her along, the redacted eyes, and also like the TOS bird of prey, like if you just visually look at it, you can like see the glowing outlines.
Yeah.
But the Dideridex ones are like, I can't find it, I don't know. But the whole thing, and then she brings out her martial arts. I love that one as much as the Rutherford one, probably. So.
I enjoyed that, but my issue was, and it's been an ongoing issue with Tendi. She's a nurse, and she's not in sickbay ever, except in the one episode. Why is a nurse being assigned to clean something?
She volunteers in her off-duty time to do these things.
And that's what I think might actually be happening, that she's hanging around with them.
But you're right. She hasn't been in
off-duty.
sickbay since the first episode.
Yeah. Well, the first episode, and then the one where Rutherford was trying to change jobs.
Oh, yeah.
But
Right.
yeah.
So 2 episodes out of 8.
So, that's fine. I can accept that she's doing stuff in her off hours, but why would she be assigned to clean something? Never mind.
Yeah, and also if I'm Ta'ana, I'm going to be really offended just being called a cat. I am more than that.
Yeah.
They talk about the cat
That's
for
true.
anyway.
That's true.
I've gone on enough about
All
this.
right.
You guys should talk about the Tendi plot.
Aaron, thoughts on Tendi?
I think that because the Tendi and Rutherford, because the Tendi and Rutherford parts were so strong, I think that's what made the episode the best one for me, because they were both hilarious, but they were both very character centric. Tendi is a people pleaser, and so her trying so hard to please these like clearly important badass Starfleet people to the point where she like goes and takes out a whole bunch of guards when really all they were expecting her to do was activate the transporters. Was just like, I think that was the natural extension of that character trait.
What was so funny is when she comes back, she just like acts like nothing happens and keeps cleaning
Right.
the conference room.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, because this job's not done yet, so I also have to finish this. Yeah.
I thought that was great.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Brandon.
I thought it was really funny. I'm trying to figure out where the term "the cleaner" is from, and I'm sure there's a movie or something like that where, like, when I hear the term "the cleaner" and how it's used, I think of like the guy from Pulp Fiction, the wolf or whatever from Pulp Fiction who comes in and cleans the mess. So,
do they call him the cleaner in that? Or
no, but they call
what's
his name? Jean Reno's character in The Professional is a cleaner.
Is that what it is? Yeah, that's probably what it is then from The Professionals.
Okay.
So I think that's kind of funny there. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of funny things that you said already with the scanning, how every time he's like, oh, they're scanning, there was an extra bird of prey there every time.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And then how the Romulan guards are just like, you know what I hate? Remans.
Yeah, the what?
Yeah. Oh, I did love that.
That was great, and in a voice that sounded so un-Romulan from what we've heard before. So
I had to run it back and
I
listen
hate.
to it again because I couldn't understand what he said the first time, and I was like, "You're the worst." It's okay. Yep.
So like, listening to me, like, there's so much in this episode that I loved,
Yeah.
but it wasn't as good as the sum of its parts. I don't know. So
That's
I mean, there's
okay.
a lot of really funny jokes in it, So, and I was laughing. I laughed a lot during this episode, and at all the different plots. So
That's good. Okay, I can say you don't hate Star Trek.
yeah, I don't hate Star Trek.
I did one time have a conversation with a CBS executive who said quite memorably, "No one hates Star Trek like a Star Trek fan."
Yeah, I've said that a few times. No one hates Star Trek like it's
Very
fans,
true.
for sure.
Very true. All right, so then Boimler, of course, doesn't give his version of events, but he has his drumhead speech, shall we say, and it's his dropping the mic speech.
Drum head drop.
Yep.
I think that was peak Boimler right there, at least as far as we've seen him.
Yeah.
And I thought it was
idealized
great.
view.
Yeah.
Of Starfleet.
Yeah. And the whole he criticizes every part that should be criticized, and especially the Romulan warbird in the Vulcan Museum. Why couldn't you just ask for it? You know?
Right. Yep.
So
I found his speech really interesting because this was the part of the episode that I didn't like compared to the rest, because I've had trouble since the beginning with some of the premise of Lower Decks. Like, I'm totally on board with having, some people that are, incompetent or don't do their job the right way or whatever. But for me, one of the things that I like about Star Trek is that for the most part, the people that we see are competent and they know what they're doing and they have a certain togetherness that I really like. And this show doesn't have that as much. It seems like a lot of people are at odds and there's incompetent stuff that happens and nobody gets punished for it, which makes the rest of Starfleet look bad. So Boimler saying, I think saying we don't know what's going on can be fine. There can be classified missions and other stuff where they might not know stuff. And I also think back a little bit to John Krikorian, who's a fellow podcaster who worked on a nuclear submarine, and he likes to say, like, we were just down there maintaining stuff. We didn't know what the mission was or what was going on. It was just, you do this thing. And it's like, okay. But I think in Starfleet, from what we've seen and what I like about it, it's different. And so Boimler, he's saying something interesting, actually, which is like, they mess up all the time, but then he also says their intentions are really good, which we haven't really heard him say as much before. So he's like defending them, but still kind of putting them down. So like this whole ending scene, and also like the twist where it's like, it's actually a party. I was like, I think I've seen too many twists in Lower Decks where it's like something feels menacing, but it's really harmless. So that whole section didn't work for me, and the rest of the episode did, and I would have liked it more if the way that it ended was that it really was menacing, but they figure out that it's actually like a simple misunderstanding and everything's fine. I would have been okay with that.
That would have connected to the beginning. Yeah.
I think that two things that I feel about Boimler's speech there. One is that I feel like it's kind of lampshading all the stuff that people want to complain about in the episode, like he's also going to complain about them, which is a great way to do it. But also, like the idea that it's a party and that's the big twist and reveal. I've been watching this show with my 10-year-old, who I have never been able to get him to watch Star Trek, but he came by while I was watching the first episode and asked to watch it with me, and he's been watching the whole series. Oh, wow. The reversal of it being a party had him on the floor, like tears in his eyes, laughing, and so like that landed so big for him.
So maybe I'm too old for that joke.
Yeah, maybe. Or and so here's the thing: like, is my own reaction to enjoying it that I enjoyed it, or that I enjoyed my 10-year-old's reaction to it? And you know what? I don't think those need to be separated from each other. I can enjoy that he enjoyed it.
Not at all, yeah.
That's great.
See, that's really funny, Aaron, because I've been watching it with my 10-year-old daughter, and we've been watching a lot of the new Star Trek and whatnot that she's been enjoying, and she actually, 3 episodes, she's like, I'm done with the show, I don't like it, and walked away from
she hasn't been watching it.
So but she only watched it because she wanted to watch it with Daddy, but 3 episodes, she's like, I'm done. And I'm like, that's fine. You don't have to watch it with me, right?
But has she watched all of Discovery and Picard with you?
She has, yes.
That's interesting.
That's so interesting.
That is.
Yeah.
But she's like, this Lower Decks thing,
I couldn't get him to watch any of the other stuff with me.
Wow. Fascinating.
You know what? Speaking of Discovery, I was just thinking of, because you're talking about conflict in this show, and, one of the things that people who worked on, especially TNG, talked about a lot was the Roddenberry box of the trap of how do you do this without conflict? Like, how do you do this without conflict? How do you have drama without having conflict between these people who work together? Because that was a rule, that these people are
the answer
smart and good. And
the answer usually was the conflict comes from something external.
Right. And often it made for good storytelling and good writing, and sometimes it made for terrible writing. But I thought one of the most interesting things that Discovery did was in its first 10 minutes or so, have a bunch of personality conflicts on the bridge, and it was like, just like, hey, guess what? We are at a place in Star Trek before we got to that good place.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
and I was
that's
like,
why it made sense, I think.
Yeah. I really dug that. I appreciated that they just like got that out of the way right at the top, and it sort of was the signal to the people who are not going to like that they should just hop off right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, they all watched it and then complained about it every week. So
before we step away from Boimler and his comments, as you were talking about it, Justin, it occurred to me that what he's doing, what we're seeing him do, is turn that Trek idea of there's this thing that we don't know that appears malicious, and but its intentions were good, and he's applying that to Starfleet. So Starfleet's out there messing
Starfleet
stuff
as a malicious
up.
entity?
Well, let's not say okay. Malicious was the wrong word, but problematic, potentially dangerous. Stick whatever adjective you want there. But the intentions are good, but the results were bad until the misunderstanding was cleared up. Think Devil in the Dark. Appears malicious, but is not. Yeah. And so I just think that's interesting because there's that trope with the aliens they run into, and it looks like last week when the jellyfish thing was eating the other ship, same kind of thing. It was it's a new life form. It just needed to eat the ship. It's okay.
Yeah, and I agree. I think they're doing that more kind of internal to the ship, where people are doing things, and it's like, oops, I messed that up, But I don't know. There's just something about it that. Like I think I've said before, what I was really looking for from Lower Decks is humor because the situation is ridiculous or because you're dealing with aliens that are ridiculous. And that's why I liked the Rutherford and Tendi stuff. Like they're thrown into these ridiculous situations. They don't know what's going on, but it doesn't necessarily have to do with, I think, anybody being too incompetent. I mean, I think you'd probably say, Brandon, like they should tell them what's going on, but they don't necessarily need to if it's a classified mission or whatever. But I don't know, that it works for me when you're in a ridiculous situation or like aliens are kind of crazy. But when you're in this situation of like, we're specifically setting this up, like they have in other episodes where there's like a lot of conflict and incompetence among the lower and upper decks. And it doesn't work as much for me for that.
Just throw it out there.
But I'm glad most of this episode did work for me. So that's good.
All right. Brandon, did you say what you wanted to about Boimler? Forgive in the conversation.
All that I have for the Boimler plot line is, to me, I mean, I don't know, maybe this is missing the point, but what a waste of John Delancey.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I was the cute part was fun.
That, yeah.
I disagree. I thought that was fun. And like with Boimler had a speech and I was like, oh, I don't like how this has turned out. And then Q showed up and I'm like, it's funny again. Like for me, that revived my interest in the episode and I thought it was hilarious. Like also the mashup that was like, there's cards on a chessboard and there are chess pieces and there's a soccer ball that's talking to you and like going to put you on trial. Like I thought that stuff was hilarious actually. And I really liked Mariner like at the end with Q where she's like, I'm not going to take your BS anymore. I'm just going to walk by. Wait a minute. Yeah. So surprise, I disagree. I love the Q parts.
Yeah. To me, it was just a waste because they promoted it in the trailer. They're like, okay, Q's coming, and it's like, okay, Q episode, right? And it's like, had they not promoted that kind of thing, I wish that they would just hold on to those things. That was to promote that in the trailer is to get the people who are not on board the show to keep on watching. Oh, I love Q. That. I should watch it. And then to have this throwaway joke that honestly, like when I read Q, and maybe we should do an episode on this at some point.
Yes.
Like to see that and to see that joke. Like, to me, that's a fundamental misunderstandanding of the Q character. Honestly, like that whole chessboard sequence to me is a misunderstanding of the Q character.
I don't know if I would agree with that.
Yeah, so we'll have to maybe address that in a Q podcast.
But I agree. I would have preferred if it was a Q-centric episode where the one plot is Q doing his thing. That would be funny.
Yeah.
But let's not forget also, because we haven't even talked about it yet, Kurtwood Smith, who played the Federation president in Star Trek 6, and he also played, what was it in Year of Hell? Anorak.
Yeah.
Anarax, yeah. That he played this
He was on Deep Space Nine, too.
Was the Cardassian Thrax.
I forgot about that.
Was he? Oh, that's right. He was Thrax. Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
I
totally
love
forgot
that
about
episode.
That's great.
So much.
So, like, I really enjoyed that.
My notes say, read Foreman, and then there's a list of all the
for
times that he
70s
was
show.
on the show. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think he's a great actor, and like when I heard Kurtwood Smith would be in this, I was like, oh, it'll probably be a small part, but like he had a pretty substantial part. So I really liked him as this whatever Katuvan guy who. But one thing I didn't realize on the first watch is that Kenneth Mitchell is voicing a character. Did you guys?
Yeah, I saw his name in the credits. I didn't realize until afterwards.
So like
who
at the beginning, when they're talking on the view screen, like with this like alien captain, that's Kenneth Mitchell doing the voice.
Oh, amazing!
And I listened to it on a rewatch, and I was like, it hardly sounds like what we've heard, but we've only heard him as a Klingon, so maybe that's different. But yeah, so like they had three different people who have done other things in Star Trek in this episode, which I thought was pretty cool, and I liked that. But anyway.
So when I was first listening to the episode, I didn't think it was Kurtwood Smith. I thought it was John Vickery, and I don't know if you guys know who John Vickery is, but
I don't recognize his name.
He's been on a lot of Star Treks. He was the Klingon.
Which one? There's a lot of Klingons.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, he's the Klingon advocate in the Enterprise episode. Where,
the one that Brandon hates. Judgment.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. He's in that. I was going to bring this up earlier actually, because he like Kurtwood Smith sounds like he's doing a John Vickery voice, but he was also like a Cardassian in like a half a dozen episodes of Deep Space Nine.
Oh, and he was on Star Trek 4, the Klingon. He was at the court case.
Yeah. So no, different one. No, that's John Shuck.
Oh, you're right.
That's
right.
John Shuck.
John Shuck. But Vickery's been in a lot, and he has such a distinctive.
He was in Night Terrors.
Night Terrors. He's in Night Terrors
as a Betazoid.
That's funny because John Shuck's been a Cardassian too, right?
Yep, right. Well, and the thing is, John Shuck's a good comparison because they both have this sort of officious alien-like thing going on for them. And I saw John Vickery at Stratford as Titus Andronicus, and it was like the greatest thing. But the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, why do I know who this guy is? Like, why am I thinking of him as an alien? And it's like, oh, because I've seen him on all the Star Treks. So, I love that dude. But anyways, yeah, I thought it was John Vickery, but it was Kurtwood Smith.
Mm-hmm. He was doing a pretty good Christopher Plummer impression too, which just adds to the Star Trek 6 reference.
Like, it was great having these actors, but I do have to say, if Lower Decks does not have Jeffrey Combs at least once, I'm going to be very
got to do it.
Very disappointed.
And he has to appear as a human.
They're never going to get Jeffrey Combs because they've got the new Jeffrey Combs that they're trying to make with Kenneth Mitchell, right? They're like, oh,
whatever. There are multiple people. Jeffrey Combs isn't even the actor that's been in the most roles in Star Trek. So
I know.
He's the best.
Who has been? Who is
Vaughn Armstrong. He's done a dozen different roles. He was the guy who played Admiral Forrest in Enterprise, but he did a bunch of other roles as Klingons and like all kinds of aliens and stuff. Yeah.
I just like that it's kind of like a family business, like you just keep using the same people over and over again. You put them in a different hat and they're a different person.
Yeah. All right. Well, one more thing I wanted to talk about before we go into final thoughts. Brandon, I think this episode has definitely reinforced your Freeman is a terrible captain issue. Okay. Or a point, excuse me.
Yeah.
Because, you watch it the first time and they're in that beam and you think that they can't talk or anything. And then you find out they can talk and you're like, why didn't she stop it? Which is exactly what Mariner asks at the end.
She said.
No matter how much you want to respect the local customs, if it looks like one of your crew members is about to lose their life, you better intervene.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which is the whole command group. But I mean, like, and I'm sorry, but just because they call out something like that doesn't mean, to me it doesn't mean it's okay, right? But I mean, at the beginning, especially though, when they don't notice that nobody's sitting at those two stations.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but whatever.
I also had a problem with Rutherford being incompetent enough to like do the wrong thing with the red alert speaker. Like, he's a very competent engineer, but anyway.
Well, maybe he just switched a wire. We've all made mistakes.
Yeah. Anyway.
I think that I don't. Did you guys see the movie I, Tonya?
No.
So there's the fundamental greatest, I think the single greatest cinematic moment of lamp shading happens in that movie, which is where it's the scene with Tonya Harding with the shotgun chasing after the guy, and she pumps the shotgun, and then she turns and looks directly into the camera and says that this didn't actually happen. And I think that this show is kind of like that.
I can see that.
Like I think the whole show is like that, and I don't have a problem with it. But okay. I'm a person who likes to like things, and I don't go out of my way to find reasons to not like things.
I do too, Aaron. Like, and this show has really surprised me because I like so much in Star Trek, and I have pretty much loved Discovery and Picard and Short Treks and the Kelvin Timeline movies and like all of that. But this is like one of the first, well, probably the only at this point Star Trek show where I haven't really liked it on the whole, so I'm really struggling with it. But I'm like you. I try to like everything. But anyway.
Yeah.
And I felt that way for the first season of Deep Space Nine.
Really?
When that was on, I was like, this show is so dreary and everybody's miserable all the time. Why do I want to watch this? Yeah. And, I got to a place where I did want to watch a dreary and miserable show. But also the show changed course a little bit. And
there's some great stuff in the first season, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And on rewatching it a few years ago, I enjoyed it a lot more than I did the first time around.
But I'll admit, the first time that I watched Deep Space Nine, I almost stopped watching because I loved Emissary. And then after that, like, there were a couple episodes and I was like, I don't know if I should keep watching this. And asked my wife, who's a big Star Trek fan, like, should I keep watching? She's like, keep watching. It gets better. It gets better. I'm like, okay. I almost gave up on it, but now it's like my favorite Star Trek show. So I'm trying to give Lower Decks a chance. I'm really encouraged by this episode, but I need to see what happens because I haven't liked most of them, like the vast majority. So,
well, you're at 25% right now.
I'm at 25%. We're going up because at one point it was 0%.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It was at 0 until 5.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you're the batter at the start of the season who's hitting 0 until he suddenly goes on a hot streak.
250. If I can get up to 300, I'll be a little better. Anyway,
do we have any final thoughts that we haven't already covered? We always come to this, and there's nothing. We've all said everything we have to say.
Yeah, we've covered it all.
I like Star
Yay,
Trek.
Star Trek. Yay.
Yay, Star
Yay,
Trek.
this episode. Please continue.
I'm just happy that we're at a time where we get to have multiple Star Trek shows.
It's awesome.
And they don't seem to be in any imminent danger of cancellation, which is gorgeous.
A couple of weeks, we're just going to pivot right from Lower Decks to Discovery on this show, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
I'm looking forward to that.
I was excited to see the signs start popping up around Toronto for production of Discovery Season 4. So that's great.
That is happening, which is awesome. Before we even see 3.
Yeah.
Well, I got one final thought. So this episode's funny. Stop making me think of Judgment.
Don't think about the elephant. Oh, there's the elephant.
Doesn't work. You know what? So there are some episodes that I really don't like, but I would love it if Lower Decks took a run at like the alternative factor because
that's one of Brandon's favorite episodes.
That's a lie.
It is true. It is true.
You love Alternative Factor?
Do
you know what happened with that episode and why it's so terrible and it doesn't make any sense and you still love it?
He loves it. He loves it.
You're a monster. I can't even...
Aaron, we've been telling him that for years, and now we've just had to accept it.
No, it's
not my favorite episode, but I love it.
Good.
It's my second favorite episode.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that the only reason to like Alternative Factor is that it ended up giving us what's the episode with Zephyr Cochrane in the second season with where he meets out with the cloud, Metamorphosis, which I think is one of my favorite episodes of the original series, and I just love there's the Alternative Factor with the interracial romance subplot that had to be jettisoned shortly before filming, right? And Gene Kuhn having to do those rewrites and being really angry about it. And if that is what inspired him to later make an episode where a man has sex with a cloud, like I'm there for it. Like that is an act of spiteful creation that I love and respect.
All right.
Coming next week's on Lower Decks, Metamorphosis reference, I'm sure.
Maybe.
I will message you after this, Aaron, and if you so desire, I talked for about an hour on why I love it, and if you ever want to listen to it. So
it's like, no, I'm not going to listen.
You don't have to, though.
I mean, I might one day if I really hate myself.
Wow. That's
mean. I'm sorry. That was
our
mean.
co-host you're talking about.
I know. I don't know. Did you read any of the These Are the Voyages books?
Yes.
They're kind of hard to read because they're like a collection of documents, but I find them really illuminating. And man, the stuff on Alternative Factor I think is really like just the best.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to. I got the one that's about the animated series. I haven't read it yet. I'm very excited to read that.
Oh, nice.
Aaron, thank you
Yes.
so much for joining us. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me.
Where can listeners find you online? And is there any current and upcoming work you can mention?
Yes. You can find me on Twitter at swear_Trek for the Star Trek stuff, or at Aaron Reynolds for just me, the human being. Aaron with 2 A's. I have... so I had last fall my first book come out, which was Effin' Birds, A Field Guide to Identification, which is based on the Effin' Birds Twitter account, but expanded into, a fake bird spotting guide that's about really the horrible human beings that I've met. And it's not really about birds at all. Don't tell anybody. And this fall, actually, they just came out, I think, 2 weeks ago. Andrews McMeel adapted it into a calendar and a weekly planner. Which is awesome. Yeah. So those are available for everyone to buy this Christmas. Please go to your bookstore, shop local, go to your local bookstore and ask them for the Effin' Birds planner. And then I have a book I just submitted the manuscript to my publisher. It's a second Effin' Birds book, but it's 100 tear out postcards. You can find them for pre-order at the URL that I'm more proud of than anything, eatf.art. So eat fart with a period between the F and the art. So I got a domain registrar would let me register it, and I registered it. So show up there to pick up your copy of the postcard book.
Such a creative mind to even think of that URL.
Thanks. I'm a monster.
Aaron, as a Swear Trek fan, I would love to see more Pulaski Swear Treks.
Oh.
You know what? So would I. And I think one of the problems with it is that I have to watch Pulaski episodes to make that happen.
Oh,
and
you are going way down in Brandon.
We are going to have a whole supplemental episode where we discuss these things. So that will be wonderful.
Let's do it.
What else? Right. What else do you hate that Brandon feels offended by?
Oh man, I don't know what. I don't hate.
Next thing you're going to tell me
like...
that you're opposite of me and you love And the Children Shall Lead.
No, I don't.
There we go.
Oh, thank God.
Let's end on a point of commonality.
You are a sane human being.
See, that's the thing, okay? General public perception is that Spock's brain is the worst episode of the original Star Trek.
No, not at all.
Okay? Spock's brain is great. That's nonsense.
And even better in the Swear Trek version.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
Loser Square Culture says it's alternative factor, but the real answer is In the Children Shall Lead.
Okay.
I'm okay with that. Or Miri. Can it be Miri?
Can
it be Miri?
Ooh.
Bonk, bonk. No blah blah.
No blah blah.
So, Brandon, where can people find you when you're not discussing the best and worst episodes of things?
You can find me on Twitter at Brandon Matella. You can find me here on the network with a show called Franchise Fatigue, which is all about movies, remakes, and sequels, which is a whole heck of a lot of fun. We're smack dab in the middle of our Planet of the Apes retrospective. You can also find me on my monthly podcast, Good Evening, an Alfred Hitchcock podcast, where my friends Chris and Tom and I do Hitch's films in chronological order. And this week, we've got our last episode on our David Fincher podcast, House of Fincher, leading up to Mank, which we still don't have a release date for it, but I'm looking very much forward to that coming out. And we're actually going to record after this tonight. We're actually going to start a new series on Christopher Nolan. So we're going to continue the House of series with Christopher Nolan, and we're going to check out his first film following. Justin, where can people find you when you don't have denobulin flesh-eating disease on your penis?
You know what? I really laughed at that one. I thought that was hilarious.
That was really
good. Let me think about
Eat
that.
right through your underpants.
Goes right through your underwear.
Yeah.
So you're saying I'm getting something from an alien species we haven't met yet. That's a problem. Okay, but yeah, that was really funny. I didn't expect them to do that. All right, well, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at TrekFan4747, where I tweet about nothing but Star Trek. And you can find me in our Facebook group, the Federation Council Chambers. Aaron, you should join that group and just swear a whole bunch. I said it's okay.
So I often destroy or disrupt groups that I join. I just want to let you know that. So if you're inviting me in, it is like inviting in a vampire or something like that. It's not always advisable, but I'm happy to accept the invitation.
Brandon and Chrissie, if you get someone trying to join named Aaron Reynolds, just say no.
Just say no.
All right. Well, anyway, you can find me in that group where we talk about all the UFP episodes, including every episode of this podcast. Chrissie, where can people find you when you're not inputting Romulan flight manuals into your future cybernetic implants, causing you to restart many times and then go back in the past to stop it from happening.
Oh, wait a second. What? Wait. What? Restarting. Okay.
Why
do I even need this?
I want to say, I like that we actually saw what Rutherford's perspective is.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
He has, like, a screen that he's looking at. Cool. Anyway.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. Right. You can find me on Twitter at TheGoddessLivia. That's TheGoddessLivia, where I tweet about Star Trek history and leftist politics. You can also follow my work in history by liking the webpage my fellow historian partner Jason and I run, History with the Szilagys, and it's at historywiththeszilagys.org, and Szilagys is spelled Szilagys. And there you'll see our most recent project, Historical Musings, blogs talking about historical context for current events, and Jason's been working on historical context blogs about Lovecraft Country. And please, once you have done your Patreon contribution to UFP, click that nice support our work button at the upper right-hand corner of our page as well. Okay.
Sweet. Open your flaps, everybody. It's
definitely. All right. So thank you all for listening and tuning in to Infinite Diversity. Thank you to our executive producers, Ken Tripp, Tony Robinson, and Zach Moore. And thank you to Zach Tripp for the wonderful theme music and Tony Robinson for the awesome show art. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, and please subscribe. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can find us on Twitter at UFP Earth or our new Twitter handle of @IDIC We also have a Facebook group for the UFP called Federation Council Chambers, as was mentioned earlier, where you can discuss the episodes for any UFP podcasts. Or you can email us at infinitediversity@ufp.earth.
And please email us. We have not gotten another email yet.
Yes, please.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know. Aaron, send us an email, infinitediversity@ufp.earth, so we can claim we got one.
Gotcha.
On the next episode, we'll be talking about episode 9 of Lower Decks. We don't have the title yet.
I think I have it.
Wait, can I guess it? Can I guess it? Q's going to come back, and it's going to be called Qvenge.
Qvenge.
No.
I got my sources listed as Crisis Point.
Ooh, okay.
Crisis Point? Okay.
Yes.
All right, so we'll talk Crisis Point next week.
Cool.
Until then, peace and long life.
This has been a production of MTMR Media Works.